Party people, happy freaking happy day. Hope all is well with you. Where do you start? I mean, I think it's simple as this. You start at the right place, and the right place is the fact that the Democrats are a freaking clown show. And the embarrassment last night, and it was an effing embarrassment. If you don't think it's an embarrassment, it is a double embarrassment. It is getting worse and worse every single day with them. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. If you want to beat the Republicans, don't act a fool. If you want to beat the Republicans, don't be an idiot. If you want to beat the Republicans, talk to working people. Don't demonize successful people. If you want to beat Republicans, don't act like a petulant child. Hakeem Jeffries, there's no leadership, by the way, in the Democratic Party. Zero. Nada. Nothing. Why is that? Because for whatever reason, they think we've got it on blast. We know exactly what we're doing, Chad. You guys just don't understand. No, I understand completely. You guys are a clown show. You're not even a smoke show. You're a clown show. And it gets worse every day. You cannot read the room. You do not understand human beings. You have no idea how to grasp the basics of life. What happens to individuals on a day-to-day basis. You play to a base of elites. You play to a base of people who, quite frankly, their ideas in many cases are, what's the old saying? This is something so stupid only an educated academic person would believe. That's what you play to. Of course there's 300 gazillion genders. Of course we absolutely 100% think that Elon is evil and bad. Of course, everything that Trump does. By the way, love Trump, hate Trump, I don't care. If you've listened to any of my shows, you know anything about me. I like what Trump does. Don't always like the way Trump acts. That's fine. That's the beauty of the world we live in. It's free speech. It's a wonderful thing. It's phenomenal. I'm not worried about a tribe coming after me. So many people are. They're all terrified. Oh my God, what if the tribe comes after me? Who gives a shit? Get over yourself. That's how you believe. We need two strong parties in this country. And guess what? The Democrats are weak. They are low on the T, if you will. And you had one job. Hakeem Jeffries comes out and he's like, hey guys, don't be stupid and don't be disrespectful. You had bingo cards. Douchebaggery. Oh, good God. That was embarrassing. Like they're at an auction. Like old, Oh, yes. Number 2 over there. Yes, fantastic. Number 3. Do I have number 3? 3 over here. Fantastic. Oh, yeah. Just embarrassing. Then, of course, you had the insanity with Al Green and not the rock and roll. Let's stay together. No. Stands up, makes an ass out of himself, embarrasses himself. And this is not time to be respectful. First and foremost, you're supposed to be respectful of the office. Do you remember the first guy that yelled at Obama? Like, you lied. It was about Obamacare and, illegal immigrants getting, I think it was healthcare for free, which ended up being somewhat true. But the next day it was like, oh my God, the decorum is broken. Oh God, what are we going to do? It's all over now. The decorum's broken and it was racism. It was this, that, and the other. Last night was a smoke show led by a clown show. So there's smoke behind him, and who's coming out? Who's emerging from the smoke show? It's the clowns. And they're riding around with a little D for Democrats. You had one job, and you couldn't even do that. They are leaderless. They are rudderless. They're a joke. And that is ever present with them. It really, really
My
is.
primary takeaway was that Democrats stole the show, but not necessarily in a good way for the party. Look, I think there's a reason that Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries told his members yesterday to be on their best behavior, not to be protesting, not to draw attention away. And they didn't listen. They made themselves the story. They heckled, they had signs, they walked out. It's interesting because, as one White House official told our colleague Dasha Burns last night, they looked like petulant children. And that became the story instead of what Donald Trump was talking about. And he was really leaning into some controversial things, right? So if they let him sort of stay in the spotlight, it perhaps could have been better for them. But look, the base is angry. They want to see people reacting to Donald Trump. And so, Democrats sort of did what the base wanted.
If that was Kamala Harris, so a black woman, first woman to be president, up there giving her address to Congress, and Republicans got up and started just screaming at her, holding placards up, like people would be, they'd be melting down at the disrespect and just the way that you're treating a woman. And you have to, as Democrats, step back and say, what the blank are we doing? We've lost our minds. We set the standard for joint sessions or State of the Unions going forward. That is the new bar to my party that we just did. It's unbelievable.
It's a joke. You've got nobody in control. You have nobody in power. You have nobody that can lead. I've been saying this for the last several months. Do you want to know who is the leader of the Democratic Party when it comes to if anybody was going to turn and lead the Democratic Party somewhere? Because they've got no answers to anything. Trump outmaneuvers them every day. It's not hard to outmaneuver them. I've been saying this forever and a day. If you give the Democrats a map to wherever it is that you're going and how you can get there, they'll take one step forward. It could be a straight line, and they'll turn around and walk off an effing cliff. But I keep saying, Stephen A. Smith, he made fun of them yesterday before all of this because of that stupid video where all of them thought it was a great idea to do this social media thing where they all read the same script and they were going to put it all together like some sort of screwy ass Brady Bunch thing. And that was supposed to be impactful and powerful. And nobody is in the room to go, hey guys, yeah, maybe we don't do this. Maybe this is like something we don't do. Like you want to do something. You're like, we should do something. And maybe no. Maybe no is the answer. Stephen A.
Now you see why Stephen A. Smith was in the polls as a presidential candidate? See what I'm talking about? You see that idiocy right there? You talk about something, people being tone deaf. Why the hell would 22 Democratic senators be literally echoing the same thing and think that would resonate with the American people? All it shows is that the same fabric of our democracy is unchanging in the eyes of some of these officials, and as a result, the constituency they represent, which is why Donald Trump is in office. What, do I have to come up to Capitol Hill and give you lessons? Seriously, you don't get it? All you did, Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, Chuck Schumer. Let's all get together. Let's put this in a prompter, and all together, albeit in separate rooms, we'll grab a microphone and say the same damn thing. And that's what's going to resonate with the American people. And then you wonder why you're no longer in power. You wonder why Trump is in the White House.
It's not hard to wonder why. It isn't. It's simple. You can't read the room. You fail to read the room. You don't understand anything that goes on with the average person. You want a simple, easy path. It's in front of you. It's not hard. We need two strong powers in this country to lead because, as we know, both parties, when given the opportunity, when in power, will do something stupid and will overreach because that's just what they do. They can't help themselves. They're like, I don't want to, but I'm gonna, but I don't want to, but I'm gonna, but I'm gonna. It's an embarrassment. It's a joke. They're a joke. They are. They will, the hypocrisy, like we all know Trump's full of it. All right. I'm fine with that. Whatever. I mean, he's the guy's like, I caught a shark. And you're like, he did catch a shark. It was a great white, probably the biggest ever. Caught it by hand. Like it was on a pole and it was a little blue shark. He did catch a shark, but it wasn't a great white. But he catch a shark. Okay, fine. Moving on. Greatest economy ever. It's a damn good economy. This is the greatest economy ever. It's debatable. We can have this conversation. But the conversations they tend to have are conversations of insanity where they decide to leave out reality, suspend it. This is the perfect example of the insanity of the left. As they go around, by the way, I was reading a little while ago, trying to think who it was that decided we're going to have to lay some people off. Just a little while ago today. I mean, I read so much stuff. And it wasn't anything. It was ABC News. I think it was 200 people. I mean, it's shitty. They lost their jobs. That sucks. So they lay off 200 people. Are any of them invited anywhere? Are they? Now, I want you to listen to this. This is a congressman who's out there fighting for the greater good of the civil servants who have now become the new first responders. It's like, well, Jim should get a medal. He's a first responder. He's the first one to show up to fix the copy machine. He's the first one to show up and hit Control-Alt-Delete. You're a good guy, Jim. Thank you for your sacrifice. That's the way they act. I want you to listen. This is insane. Listen to this. But while all this is going on, I want you to pay attention to the fact that while this is happening, Brandon Johnson and Wu of Boston and the guy from Denver and Adams, New York, are all in Capitol Hill talking about sanctuary cities. I want you to listen to this guy and the insanity of which he spews his stupidity.
Possibly can to lift you up. There's the whole notion of the people that are most valuable are the people that have given up their careers, given their lives. Almost every one of you can make more money selling cars. I promise you that. But instead, you're taking a lower pay in order to serve the American people.
Right.
And we are deeply, deeply grateful. Yeah. And please be hopeful. We are not going to lose this.
We're not going to lose.
We're here today, but this is a marathon.
Yeah, that's
right. We're making progress each and every day.
Right.
What we can't do is be so afraid, so depressed, so lost, because we have to be hopeful. We have to be courageous. We have to fight back in every way that we do.
Yep.
And when we do that, we're going to send Elon back to South Africa.
Right.
So where do we go with that? Well, let's start first and foremost with your sacrifice that you make. You guys have all, are you working for free? Because I checked the average. Now, it differs depending on part of the country. The average federal worker with benefits and everything, it makes in between like 120, and these are benefit with the benefits and everything, and about 150 grand. Some make less, obviously. Some are part-time positions, but I'm going with the average. Average car guy makes between, and let's be real, car, it's a sink or swim thing. There's results. There's no union for the car guy. 80% of the cars are sold by 20% of the people. The rest of you, well, you better get another job. Pay for all your baby mamas. If you know car guys, you know that's like, it's probably a little true. And I love car guys. So that right there, like number one insanity. It's like, thank you guys for your sacrifice. Thank you for your sacrifice. Like tomorrow we're taking a flight. We're flying to LA for my little sister's wedding. And I don't know if I should like get up if there's somebody there that's like was laid off by Doge and maybe give him my seat. It's like, oh, yes. Are you being sarcastic? I am being sarcastic. Now, while all that's going on, he's a congressman. While all that's happening, and he's saying that and the sacrifice and the whole 9 yards, which we all know is a bunch of bullshit. And again, I don't want anybody to lose their job, but here's the reality of it. We have no more money. We have tons of unfunded liability. And it would be great if there was some sort of magical thing where we could not borrow any more money, but come up with more money where we could cover all of our stuff and make everybody happy. But that's not the world we live in. So this is it. And the bearer of bad news didn't create the bad news, just bearing the bad news, which is we have to make changes. At the end of that, though, and I remind you, you had Brandon Johnson of Chicago, arguably the worst mayor in the country. Somebody asked me today, who was worse in Chicago, Lori Lightfoot or Johnson? And I'll say, probably Johnson. And that's Lori. Think about that. Lori Lightfoot was awful. Like, horrible. So while all this is going on, so he's there, in D.C. said, yeah, we have to fight against ICE coming in and trying to, take people into custody that are wanted because, they're evil, whatever. Clown. Michelle Wu, I think is her name, from Boston. And she's fighting for sanctuary cities. The guy from Denver, who's just a clown, fighting for sanctuary cities. This congressman says, and then when all's said and done, we should get it back to South Africa and kick Elon out of the country. He's a citizen, you clown. I want you guys to play this over in your mind. This is why you continue to lose. This is why things don't go the way that you think they're going to go. You're talking about, a better sacrifice would be, let's keep a bad guy, a Frente Agua member. Let's keep him. And let's get rid of Elon. Well, he's a billionaire. Yes. Who do you want running shit? Just out of curiosity. It's like, who we could really use to run some of this Doge stuff? A guy that's a freaking idiot. Somebody who's a knuckle dragger, mouth breezer, who can't get anything done and has failed their whole life. That person should be in charge. No. Jan, I heard they're taking people's Netflix passwords. The stuff I get on a daily basis of insanity, you guys would be shocked. So you want to get rid of Elon, who's an American citizen. I repeat, he's an American citizen. And fight for people who shouldn't be here. So far, this isn't going well for you. You've jacked the pooch on numerous occasions. And we talked a little bit about it earlier. I had a video out earlier today. If you thought it couldn't get worse, I want to remind everybody what happened last night. Again, Trump's speech is Trump's speech. These things that used to be nonpartisan State of the Union, and that wasn't really a State of the Union technically, but it was. The way that State of Unions work is you're supposed to be in charge for a year. So therefore, you get a feel of the state of the union and you deliver your speech. Trump's been around. We get that. They're more rah-rah rally speeches than anything else. But the Democrats embarrass themselves on the highest level to show you everything they're about. It's not just about women in sports, right? And I remind everybody, some people say, well, it's not a big deal that somebody's trans plays in sports. Yeah, it is. To those women, it is. Absolutely. And it's not about even so much the woman playing in sports against the man who is, identifying as a woman. It's about you better do what I say or else. That's the straight from the Marxist playbook. You better do what I say or else. I'm going to get you to do whatever it is that I want you to do. I'm going to get you to do whatever it is that I say you're going to do it, and you're going to do it or else. And that includes suspending reality. And putting yourself into a point of, well, I guess you're right. That is a woman, and that they're the same. They're not. This past weekend, there was a track meet in California. A boy. I mean, he may be femme or whatever. He won the long jump by 8 feet. Not 8 inches. 8 feet. Sorry, it's a tough thing to swing for everybody out there. Again, missing over and over again. And finally, as we talked about it earlier, yesterday, so last night, if you guys know who DJ Daniel is, he is a young boy. He's 13, brain cancer, diagnosed in 2000. I believe it was 17, may have been 18. For the most part, it was over. They gave him 5 months. Last night, Trump had him there. And this is a kid who has got a little uniform. He has been in so many places for his love of police, and he really wants to be a police officer. He wants to be a police officer. And earlier today, we hit Nicole Wallace with the dumbest thing in the world. Well, I want to remind everybody what happened, and then we'll get to something that was just as equally
I am asking our new
stupid.
Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
I want to pull that back a little bit. I want you to see his face. See the face, see the joy, see the shock, see the overcoming of the emotion of, yes, kids, somebody who isn't supposed to be here, who should have died, but continues to fight. In his video before the release from the White House, he says he is going to continue to do everything he can until his gas tank is on empty. Think about that. Look at his face.
Sean Curran,
Look at
to
his face.
officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
The shock, the awe, the excitement overwhelmed everybody. Where are the Democrats? On their hands, minus a few people. It's not about Donald Trump, you clowns. It's not. It's about a little boy who is living out the dreams that he may have, and they may only be here for a little while longer. I love this part right here. That right there says everything. It was amazing. Somebody just said, the hug made me cry, made a lot of people cry. We were at an event last night, and there was probably 200 people there, and all to watch this, and there weren't too many dry eyes in the place. As a father, couldn't imagine it. Couldn't imagine anything like that. Fighting against something that you have no understanding or idea. Knowing your kid's been through hell. And you do everything you possibly can just to get by day. You are living in the moment and living for your child, and you would give anything to sacrifice, to trade places with your child because you love them. But you can't even go through that. And that moment, so real. MSNBC, earlier we saw Nicole Wallace, Jack the Pooch. That's what she does.
For the record, and this
How about
is
Rachel Maddow?
disgusting. The president made a spectacle out of praising a young man who thus far survived pediatric cancer, as if the president had something to do with that. This was in the midst of him praising Doge. The Doge cuts, among other things, have cut off funding for ongoing research into.
I can't even, I can't anymore with them. I can't. You're a clown show. And that is not what it was about. It was not about the Doge. It was not about it was a human moment. It was about a child. This is where the red and the blue and the hats come off. This is where all of that stuff gets pushed to the side. This is where it becomes a situation where you become a human being. And it's not about partisan politics. And the fact that Donald Trump delivered this thing, this moment for people, and you wanted to call it disgusting because, I'm sorry, if that was Joe Biden, and I was there, I'd have been standing on my seat cheering. Because if you don't, what the hell are we doing? The Democrats fail over and over and over again because they do not understand. You push narrative and your only narrative is Trump is bad. You've got nothing else. They're going to do this. You know what? Look at the numbers. People are like, we need to cut, right? We need to cut a bunch of this stuff. We just can't afford this stuff anymore. Yeah. Democrats are like, what is it? 75% of people agreed that we need to cut and we need to cut back and find waste and fraud and that maybe we need to streamline, become more modern. What do you guys think of that? Democrats are like, I don't think that's something we should do. We should spend more money. You've lost the plot. You lose because you don't get it. And you fail to get it every single day. And it's sad. We need two strong parties in this country. And the Democrats are weak. They're weak. They continue to get weak. They continue to be lost. And it's going to continue to be that way until somebody gets their head out of their ass and says, all right, I'm going to stand up and we're going to have a common sense conversation with the people, the working people. You know, when I hear them talk about, oh, Elon's a billionaire, most polls are like, we don't care. We just want to know, how do we get ours and how can we move forward and be successful too? That's it. They don't begrudge him for that. Continue to fail. An opportunity last night to stand up and you sat on your hands because Donald Trump's a bad guy. It wasn't about Donald Trump. That was about a young boy who's struggling in the fight of his life. And you jacked the pooch. And this is why Donald Trump, when you wonder why Donald Trump, you couldn't stand for that. When you wonder why Donald Trump, and he talked about we need peace. And they're like, oh, it's just because of Putin. That's why he does those things. He said Pocahontas and later on, which was just mind-boggling, somebody asked her, hey, Donald Trump mentioned you by name. He called her Pocahontas. And she goes, yeah, he did. That's not your name, by the way. Your name's Elizabeth Warren. Your name's Elizabeth Warren. Your name's not Pocahontas. You fail because you've got people standing out there talking about the sacrifices of the people inside the civil servant givers and who are fighting hard. Yet people are getting laid off every day from all kinds of companies, and I don't see you out there. I don't see them on any programs. No, because it's about bureaucracy. And while you're doing that, you're saying we need to deport and get rid of Elon Musk, when in reality, he's an American citizen, and you want to get rid of somebody uber successful and keep people here that have come across the border illegally and continue, because remember, it's the worst first, and you won't even participate in getting rid of those people because you somehow think that having somebody turned over by a local agency to the feds would be evil, wrong, a sin, bad in the progressive world? No. You fail because you're rudderless. You choose the wrong path on every occasion at this moment in time. It's mind-boggling, and it shouldn't be, because this is where we've been for a while. There are people out there in the Democrat Party who I know, who I talk to, who work inside of the Democratic machine, and they shake their head and say, this is a joke. These people are just completely lost. And they're going to continue to be that way because they can't talk to the common person. They think the common person is like them in Manhattan, in Seattle, in Portland, and in Berkeley, San Francisco, Los Angeles, in Chicago. And they're not elitist. They're union members. They're Americans. They want a strong border. They're okay with choice up to a certain extent. They're fine with marriage equality, but no, they don't want a 16-year-old boy saying he's a girl and in a girl's locker room making somebody uncomfortable because somehow if you say, hey, that makes my daughter uncomfortable, you're a bigot. They've lost common sense. And right now the Republicans have found it. Doesn't mean they'll have it forever. But at this moment in time, they don't have anything to worry about. Solid, fun, enjoyed being here tonight. You guys have a great night. We'll be back on Monday. I'm traveling this weekend. I'll probably post some stuff on the TikTok and the Instagram and stuff, and appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Check out my YouTube, Chad Benson Show TV. We're expanding, doing a lot more. And, of course, nightly, we're doing this, but throughout the day, check out the podcast as well as my national radio show, which is on from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific time. You guys